Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rockies Week in Baseball on the Tribe Fan 879 YouTube channel, where we will recap 4 games against the Washington Nationals and 3 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates for the 2018 Stratomatic Colorado Rockies Super Advanced replay, Super Advanced, not Advanced. All right, and we'll get started with Game 1, and all 4 of these games are in Nationals Park. Game 1 was Chad Bettis against Gio Gonzalez, and this was a good back-and-forth game till the very end. All right, we'll start off with the Rockies getting started in the top half of the first. DJ LeMahieu with a walk, goes to second on a Chris Iannetta walk. Nolan Arenado hits into a fielder's choice to put runners on first and third. And then Trevor Story with an RBI single. That made it 1-0 Rockies. Ian Desmond would single to load the bases, but Carlos Gonzalez bounced into a double play, and that ended the damage. All right, we go to the bottom half of the first, and the Nationals wasted no time tying up the game. Trey Turner with a leadoff home run. That made it 1-1. Now the Nationals would take the lead in the bottom half of the fifth, when Trey Turner once again goes deep off of Chad Bettis, and that made it 2-1, and that would be it for Bettis after 5. He would get a no decision, and you'll find out why. All right, right back to the top half of the 6th inning. After a little dribbler out in front of the plate by Ian Desmond, this is off of Matt Grace, who took over for Gio Gonzalez after he pitched 5 innings. Carlos Gonzalez with a 1-out double, and then Pat Valaika with a RBI single that made it 2-2. We go to the top half of the 8th. This is with Trevor Gott pitching. Ian Desmond was hit by a pitch, and then Carlos Gonzalez goes deep, atoning for his double play ball. That made it 4-2, but they could not hold the lead. With Jake McGee pitching, a 1-out walk to Bryce Harper, and then Ryan Zimmerman with a RBI triple. That puts runner on third with 1 out, and Matt Adams hits a deep fly ball to right field. It is caught, but it is deep enough to score Zimmerman. That ties the game at 4. However, that wonderful Nationals bullpen couldn't hold the lead. Got in his second inning of work. Pitched to 3 batters. He got one of them out. However, the first batter was DJ LeMahieu. He singled. He got Iannetta to strike out. And then Nolan Arenado walks to put runners on first and second. They go to the bullpen to bring in Sean Kelly, and he was not relief. Trevor Story with an RBI double, putting runners on second and third. And then they all trotted home when Ian Desmond goes deep. 3-run homer. That puts the Rockies up 8-4. Matt Wieters would hit a solo home run off of Adam Ottavino in the bottom of the 9th just to make it 8-5. So that's your final. Got with the loss, and Jake McGee would get the win, oddly enough. All right, and Turner was the star for the Nationals with the 2 home runs and a losing cause. All right, Game 2 of this series was Kyle Freeland and Tanner Roark, and this was all Rockies. Top half the 2nd inning we go. After a Chris Iannetta fielder's choice, Ian Desmond with a double to put runners on second and third, and then Trevor Story with an RBI groundout. That made it 1-0, and then Ryan McMahon with an RBI single. That made it 2-0. And then Kyle Freeland would strike out to end the inning. However, the damage was done. 2-0 Rockies. All right, we go to the top half of the 6th. This is still with Roark pitching. Leadoff walk to Arenado after Carlos Gonzalez strikes out. Chris Iannetta goes yard, and that makes it 4-0. Roark would not last through the 5th after giving up a single to Trevor Story. they brought in Sammy Solis. He finished off the 6th inning, but not after the damage was done. 4-0 after the 6th inning. We go to the top half of the 7th with Solis still pitching. Gerardo Baby Shark Parra with a single, 1-out single, or 2-out single, sorry. And then Nolan Arenado takes Solis deep. There was no Solis for Solis. A 2-run homer, that made it 6-0. Then the Rockies would not get the shutout thanks to the bottom half of the 8th with Mike Dunn pitching. After a line out by Severino, the catcher. Let's see, this would be... So we had a pinch hitter. Don't recall who. This was probably... Matt Adams pinch hitting. So this is Matt Adams pinch hitting. He walked. Trey Turner walked. And that puts runners on 1st and 2nd. A wild pitch moves them both up to 2nd and 3rd. And then a RBI ground out by Hector Rendon. That made it 6-1, and that's your final. Freeland goes 6 innings for the win. Roark would go 5 2/3 in the loss. Nothing really to write home about for the Nationals except for the fact they got the 1 run. All right, game 3 of this series was John Gray and Max Scherzer. And this was all Nationals, as you probably expected, with Scherzer on the mound. And they didn't take long to get started. Bottom half of the 1st, Trey Turner with a single, and it goes under Charlie Blackmon's glove, and it goes all the way to the wall. So they'll call it a single, and he goes to 3rd. So they'll call it a single and a 2-base error. And then Wilmer Defoe with an RBI single. That brings home Turner. That made it 1-0. He goes to 2nd on a wild pitch. And then goes to 3rd when Harper flies out to deep right field. And then Matt Adams with an RBI ground out. That was a rarity for him, but it happened. And that made it 2-0. And then Matt Wieters with a 2-out solo home run. That made it 3-0. And after 1, that was your score, 3-0. We move ahead to the bottom half of the 5th with Gray still pitching. Matt Reynolds with a leadoff single. Scherzer with a sacrifice bunt moves him to 2nd. A walk to Trey Turner puts runners on 1st and 2nd. And then Bryce Harper with the 3-run Jimmy Jack. That makes it 6-0. They let Scherzer pitch into the 9th. However, that was thwarted when DJ LeMahieu goes deep off of him. Things got a little interesting. Ryan Madsen came in, got the first out, and then loaded the bases, and they had to bring in Sean Doolittle to get the double play ball from Story to end the game. So the Rockies did make this a little interesting. But, hey, the Nationals win. Scherzer gets the win. He went 8 innings, striking out 9. Then John Gray gets the loss. He went 5 2/3 in the loss. Anything except for Carlos Gonzalez Charlie Blackmon went 2 for 4 in the loss. All right, and now for the final game of the series, Tyler Anderson against Steven Strasburg. Once again, another game for the Nationals. However, the Rockies did get first runs. Top half of the 2nd with 2 outs. Ian Desmond with a solo home run. That made it 1-0 Rockies. We move to the bottom half of the 3rd with 1 out. Trey Turner with a single goes to 3rd on a Wilmer Defoe double. And then Bryce Harper with a sacrifice fly. That tied the game at 1. And then we go to the top half of the eighth with Sean Kelly pitching, and he was not much relief for this series at all. Iannetta with a double. He scores on a Blackman single. And then Carlos Gonzalez with a double puts runners on second and third. They call on Sammy Solis again. This time he does the job. Strikes out Parra, strikes out Desmond. A 2-out walk loads the bases, but Ryan McMahon could not get the job done, and that would prove to be costly. The Rockies go ahead 2-1, and we go to the bottom of the ninth. Wade Davis pitching. Back-to-back walks to Harper and Zimmerman. Howie Kendrick moves both of them along to second and third with a ground out to second base. They intentionally walked Matt Wieters to load the bases to get an out at any base, and that would prove costly because Matt Adams came up in a pinch hitting role, and he sends everyone home happy. High, deep and gone, grand slam. The Nationals win 5-2. Davis gets the loss, and Matt Grace pitches a scoreless ninth to get the win. Not a whole lot else to say for that game. All right, now we go to game one of the series at PNC Park. So the Rockies were on a little road trip. This is German Marquez against Steve Brault. And yeah, this was actually a close game for a little while, but then it got bad late. The Rockies once again get out early. LeMahieu with a leadoff double after an Iannetta strikeout. Charlie Blackman puts one deep into the right field seats, doesn't quite reach the river. So that puts the Rockies up 2-0 after one. We go to the bottom half of the fourth. Josh Bell with a one-out single, and Corey Dickerson with a single puts runners on first and third. And then the ex-Yankee catcher, Francisco Cervelli, with the sac fly. That made it 2-1 Rockies. However, right back to the top half of the fifth, 2-out rally by the Rockies. Ian Desmond with a 2-out walk. Carlos Gonzalez with a single. And then Trevor Story with runners on first and third with an RBI single. That made it 2-1. Then we get to the bullpen because, well, they're not good either. Tyler Glass now in his second inning of work. In the top half of the seventh. Actually, it's kind of third inning of work. He was in an inning of the third inning before he reached the seventh. Walked to Iannetta, and Charlie Blackman with the second home run of the day. That made the score now is 5-0 or 5-1. Sorry, and then Glasnow was pulled for Richard Rodriguez, who finished up the sixth or the seventh. Kyle Crick came on in the eighth. He was not much help. Ryan McMahon with a pinch hit double. And then Chris Iannetta with a double. That scores McMahon. That makes it 6-1. They scored two more runs in the ninth off of George Contos. And that's your final 8-1. Marquez goes 7 innings for the win, and Brault goes 4 2/3 and gets the loss. All right, with game 2 of the series is Chad Bettis against Trevor Williams. All right, we'll get started. We'll go to the top half of the second. Carlos Gonzalez leadoff single. 2 batters later, Trevor Story with a double. After Desmond moved Gonzalez a second, that would score Gonzalez. And then with 2 outs, Tony Wolters, the backup catcher, with an RBI single with 2 outs. So that helps. That makes it 2-0. Pirates come right back off of Bettis. Josh Bell leadoff single. Corey Dickerson single puts runners on first and third. And then we'll fix this real quick. That should be. And then Francisco Cervelli with a single. That scores Bell. And then puts runners on first and third. And then Colin Moran grounds into a double play, no RBI, but it does get the job done to tie the game at 2. And it stayed that way until the top half of the fourth when Williams ran into some big trouble. Started with a leadoff walk to Carlos Gonzalez, then a single by Desmond, who then got caught stealing later, but Fielder's choice, not caught stealing, Fielder's choice. That puts runners on first and third. And then Ryan McMahon, RBI single, scores Carlos Gonzalez. Tony Wolters with a 2-run triple now puts the Rockies ahead 5-2. And then DJ LeMahieu with 2 outs gets an RBI single. That scores Wolters from third. The Rockies go ahead 6-2. The Pirates would cut into that lead very in quick manner too. Starling Marte with a leadoff double. Josh Bell with an RBI single. That cuts the deficit to 6-3. The Rockies would get single runs in the 7th and the 9th. Charlie Blackmon with a solo home run off of Kyle Crick in the 9th. And that means 3 home runs in 2 days for Blackmon. The Rockies win 8-3. Bettis goes 6 innings for the win. And Trevor Williams goes 5 innings in the loss. All right, the final game of the series is Kyle Freeland against Chad Kuhl. And Chad Kuhl was cool. Not as the other side of the pillow. The Rockies get first, score first. Mike Tauchman with a walk, and then 2 batters later, DJ LeMahieu hits one in the gap. They wave Tauchman around, and he is safe at the plate. The Rockies go up 1-0. And we go to the bottom half of the third. David Freese with a 1-out single. Sean Rodriguez walks to put runners on first and second. And then Elias Diaz with a home run, with a 3-run homer. That makes it 3-1 Pirates. They would crawl back with, in the 5th inning, Ryan McMahon with a leadoff double, and then Mike Tauchman with the ground ball to third, and David Freese throws it into the stands. They give McMahon home, and that makes it 3-2. The Rockies would get no closer because with Antonio Senzatella pitching, 1-out single by Josh Bell, David Freese moves him to third with a single, and Sean Rodriguez with a sac fly puts the Pirates ahead 4-2. And Felipe Vasquez, I know some people don't want to hear his name after the what came to light from him, but he did pitch in 2018, so we're going to use him. Scoreless 9th inning, and the Pirates win 4-2. That puts the Rockies record at 10-10 for the season. I'll have to look up what their real life is. Maybe the next Rockies week in baseball, I will have that update. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching for this lengthy Rockies week in baseball. I will try to get full games on when I figure out how to get this to put more than 30 minutes to a video. Thank you for watching. If you were watching for the first time, please hit the subscribe button. and hit that bell icon. You'll be notified of any new videos. And please hit the like button if you like what you see. All right, that's it for Rockies Weekend Baseball. Whatever games you are playing, either video game, tabletop, or PC, may your games be lively and your games be good. Have a good night, everybody.